been a message about Hangouts ending there. There it is. Hangouts on here is going away August 1st.
It's
This
all
is the
live.
first time I've seen it. Yeah, they're just going to keep it going, but not say anything about it. Just hope nobody uses it anymore.
I couldn't find the link. I couldn't
For
find
what?
it. I was trying to do on Sunday, and I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't find it.
It's they don't actually say in YouTube like click here for Hangouts. It's just
Yeah, no, it's under, like you said, it was under other features, right? And then
right, and
live,
then
live stream now.
no live events.
Live
Click on it's that part is not intuitive. They have two things that are about live streaming. But you click on live events and then you say click on like schedule event now, and then you can basically go live right away. And that will open a Google Hangouts window.
Gotcha. Where do you get the link at then?
Then in Google Hangouts, if you move your mouse cursor at the top, there'll be a little person with a plus sign next to him.
Oh yeah.
And click on that, and it'll give you the link. I don't necessarily feel like Hangouts is super well designed in that regard, but it's convenient. It's simple enough. I think anybody could use it, but only got another couple weeks with that.
Yeah. Whatever.
So who wants to give the recap? Sorry, viewer at home who's not interested in Google Hangouts.
Single viewer.
Yep.
Whoever you are.
Yeah, who hasn't been around in a couple weeks. We may have lost our only viewer. We're down 100% in the ratings.
So
We've lost our demographic.
You got to show more skin, apparently.
Yeah, we should have had the talk of strippers on the live stream.
yeah, well, you have to keep them wanting.
Yeah, that's only if you become a subscriber on Twitch. You got to get that exclusive content.
Yeah, put it in the description right now. Hashtag we got strippers. Working on strippers. I don't know.
So we spent the majority of the session talking with the librarian. So the librarian told us a lot of information. Not all that I had in my notes, so I'll have to go back to the recap. But essentially, the librarian, by giving us some information that we deemed was correct, as far as we knew, without any sort of prompting, was trying to get us to free him by just breaking a spell circle on the floor and just making a single line there. After some time, which most people in the party were amenable to breaking it and just letting him go, Lucirosi, from the kind of misgivings of Kajika, decided to use, I think it's protection from evil and good.
Divine sense.
Divine sense, and saw that the librarian was actually a devil.
Right. And Lucirosi was all gung-ho about like, okay, are we ready to let him go now? And it was Kajika who was like, no. I believe the exact words were negatory Ghost Rider.
Megatron.
Megatron.
Yeah. So we learned, the demon was still trying to make the deal, and he was trying to make it even sweeter.
He doesn't like that.
Yeah.
You hear him scream, "Devil!" as you talk about the day's events.
You're writing it down in a journal. He just hear the scratching.
Some of the information he did offer up for free was that Regia Veilsworn and Paradana are inside the manor, and they have been for 11 months. Regia threw a party in which which was unusual for her, and all of the people that showed up became sacrifices for Orcus in the ballroom. and they all died, and the whole place became rife with demons.
Typical party.
For Scorn Paladins, yeah.
So in the ballroom is likely where the book is that we're at, the De Fabrica. And we're also looking for the Manual of the Planes, which was not in this library. I don't know I don't recall getting like a location where that one would be. But there was a lot of manuals on planes around the library. So we all of us one by one walked away from the devil, which was an ink devil, and decided not to take his help, as tempting as it was. He did mention that if we decide to come back later, that the deal will not be as good, and we better just start preparing someone to sacrifice. So we decide to open up the door that was barricaded by the servant in the bottom floor, and we get attacked by some demon knights that if I recall, they kicked our asses.
Luceroshi's ass. Not
Mostly mine.
Yeah, they handed us, and the thing that made it awkward is that one thing that we found out is that when there was that explosion, which was 200 years ago in the material plane, and somewhat like 11 months ago in this world, the mansion separated from the material plane and is somewhere between the material and the astral plane, and there's different shards of time warp across the mansion. So the room we were in when we probably 3 or 4 sessions ago, in the entrance, it looked like it kind of came alive after we entered. But as we opened up this next door to the nether room, the knights were moving much faster than we could kind of perceive, I believe. And that made it awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah, that made it awkward from like a fighting perspective in battle.
Yeah. For a moment until they, caught up or whatever. We caught up with them or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, the spatial distortion found equilibrium.
So we licked our wounds, retreated back to the entrance, the welcome room, and I believe we were waiting we were going to do a long rest.
Well, we were going to try and find a place where we could safely do a long rest, but also need to discuss the potential ramifications of staying in here longer than we need to based on this devil's experience of 9 months aligning with the 100 and 200 years since the door was last open.
We also, one of the things the devil would have offered is the safest room to do a long rest.
Right.
So that's where we ended last session.
Right.
I mean,
So you are all in the original room that you appeared in. The doors are presumably closed because you didn't actually defeat all of the skeletons. Some of them you just turned, and so they ran off. But that eventually will wear off.
yeah, I think I told the fucking VeggieTales looking guy to
The servant?
to block the door again for now.
Yeah, he put the barricades back up, and the room you're in now, as near as you can tell, it would be the door is closed, but he would have to break through the barricade in the dining room beyond to get to you, so you'd presumably hear that. But I wasn't clear on whether or not you were going to take a short or a long rest or what. So that is for you to decide.
I don't think we had decided. Because that beat a bunch of us up, it beat Lushiroshi up, and Lushiroshi has a problem with spell conservation.
I'm a paladin. I'm good for one thing. Nova.
Yeah, I mean, you could save it. What I need for you to do next is go ahead and just make a deal with something, so you can have some warlock levels, so you can have something that refreshes after a fucking short rest. So,
Hey, Lushiroshi is absolutely fine.
no, it's not.
Oh, I find that disproportionately funny. Somebody should. But Lushiroshi is absolutely fine with the idea of just taking short rest and spending all his hit dice in order to keep pushing through.
Yeah, you may want to die, but I don't think the rest of us are cool with that.
He don't want to die, but he's balancing the needs of what we have to do with the needs of what's happening outside this door.
What's happening outside the store?
Well, one, the longer that time goes on, the more likely that we're about to step into probably a war zone, since tensions are already high with the White Spear versus the Hobgoblins and all that stuff. On top of the fact that the more time we spend out here, the more times the devils or demons who took Solastri are able to corrupt it to their purposes.
Or they'll just get bored with it.
But I guess that's assuming that they took it to a place that has the same time scale that we do, or that it's on the material plane.
Safe to assume that it would.
Right. You don't know, because of the time thing, you don't necessarily know how long you've been in here from the standpoint of the outside, but you yourselves have only been in here about 2 hours as far as you know.
Yeah.
What ties do you have to the outside exactly?
Are you talking to Lushiroshi?
Anybody?
Well, I have to reclaim my emperorship, which actually might be helpful the longer we're in here, because it would give a chance for the current emperor to become old and feeble and let the young, strong T-hole take his place.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed.
My people need a leader.
And Solastri is a relic of great power, and the longer that it is in the hands of the enemy, the more devastating it can be for everybody.
Chances are they have many others. What's one more?
None such as Solastri. If you knew the history of this creation, it's not even just a weapon. It is a creation, a relic of power that I did not understand until recently. Just as I was beginning to understand it, it slipped from my grasp and is now being put to who knows what evil purpose.
Guess somebody should have used their action point.
And that is a thing that I shall regret for the length of this campaign. And it is also the reason that I no longer save anything. If I have a chance to use it, I'm using it. Because you never know. YOLO.
I mean, it's just that you should have seen this coming. The relic was so powerful. Obviously, it's going to be targeted. Obviously, it was targeted. We knew it was targeted before.
Yes, and unfortunately, my pride and short-sightedness got the better of me, and I will not let it happen again. Or at least I will do my best.
Just don't make it. Just don't allow it to make you stupid.
We are wasting time.
We wouldn't have to if you didn't use all of your power.
Now, it's not. It won't do to bicker. Let me put on a pot of tea, because if I recall, there was tea sitting here, and there were refreshments in this room. Are they still there?
There is on the table. There is still a pitcher of ale. When you left the room last time, the pitcher apparently emptied and the glasses disappeared. But when you re-entered the room, again, a pitcher of ale, a crystal pitcher of ale, and several glasses appeared on the table.
Well, maybe not tea. Looks like all they have is ale still. So I'll pour a glass and hand one out to each person.
There was also a card, by the way, like some sort of note card was on the table, propped up. Nobody bothered with it last time you came in.
What is it?
I don't remember that.
Picking it up, it says, "Please do not track mud into the manor. Outside mud and dirt have to be cleaned up. Not that I'm unhappy doing it, and not that anyone ever listens to me anyway, but I would appreciate it. I'm happy to provide spare boots if those are needed, and to clear any equipment you leave here in the announcing hall."
Sign the servant.
Sign the servant.
Pleasant.
So Lucirosi looks like really fucking banged up. One eye is probably swollen shut. His snout is probably smashed in a little bit, cuts all over him. But he says, "I just need an hour or so to clean my wounds, and I shall be good to go. I will not have the same magic or gifts as they have been expended, but I still have my weapons."
Meanwhile, T-Hole's been fighting with like one arm behind his back for ages now. He's like, "Fine, I'll use more than just the 7 spells I decided I would use."
Yeah,
Actually, most people don't know, but I was when I was doing the thing with Kajika's thing, and I was going to fix Firebolt, how that wasn't rolling at the hit roll. I also was like, why does he only have 7 spells in his spell book? And I figured it out. And with like the Codex, the other guy's spell book that he found, I was like, he should have 28 spells.
Yeah. So
even 4th level spells, which he has spell slots for, but he didn't have.
So is that on?
Are you sorted now?
yeah, I'm bloated now.
Same 7 spells 4 times.
The whole world has opened up to me now.
I was
It must have
wondering
been-
why it was always burning hands or firebolts.
Well, I
With the occasional
was
magic missile.
when I realized that, I was thinking, oh, it must have been like so super disappointing when he cast Fear again. He likes the spell, I know, and I only to find out that these things were immune to fear. Like, that's a pretty dick DM move. You only have one. Your highest level spell, your only 3rd level spell is Fear. Hey, here's what enemies that doesn't work on.
Yeah, so I chalk it up to this being my very first wizard, and not realizing that every level, I didn't read it closely enough that every level you get 2 more spells that you can know. So I just had as many levels or spells as I knew for my first level, and also I was missing, even in my notes, I was missing a couple of the spells from the Sonaro Codex.
Yeah, it seemed like you only had fear. And at one point you asked me if you could like have that one scribed in your spell book like right away. And I said yes. So you wrote that one down. But the other 7 weren't there.
Yeah. Oh well, because each of them took like time. And then
Right.
we just never RP'd the time. So I just didn't
Right.
write it down.
In this is the sort of case though where if that was how Wizard worked, like they had to find scrolls and spell books, you would have been well within your rights to say, "Hey, I know we found one spell book in the course of the game, but can we find a few more scrolls somewhere?" Because I don't have any 4th level spells at all.
Well, you know,
Can you imagine a class like that relied solely on DM fiat to get stronger?
Oh boy.
So it was a big blonde moment. I have the hair to prove it. And yeah.
So Daggerface, who's been sitting on one of the couches, gets up and says, Why don't we just leave? Didn't the guy say they would have bedrooms available for us? Like we can come back, right?"
The problem is, Daggerface, that if we do that, untold amounts of time will pass within this manor, at which point, who knows if Regia and Peridana might find fruition to whatever plans that they have. Time is of the essence in both senses, both within here and outside.
Not to mention,
but if 9 months passed for the librarian and 200 years or so passed outside, then really 8 hours outside is like 15 seconds in here for him.
Yes, but if I recall correctly, the demon, if his tongue can even be trusted, he said that different areas of
It's
the
a
manor.
Devil!
The devil said that different parts of the manor had been adjusted or affected differently, and time may move differently in those areas. We can't account for it. We've already seen this at least once, entering the room with the Hell Knights or whatever they were.
Right, but if you're going to think about it that way, then in some planes, like the astral plane, time doesn't really exist, doesn't flow at all. So they've had lots and lots of opportunities to do things. Like, as far as we know, the outside right now is the slowest progression of time available to us.
well, notwithstanding those reasons, which I tentatively I'm indifferent about.
He has taken out a piece of paper and is scribbling something down. But while you talk,
If we leave the manor, then even if it's been for like 2 hours, we'll still in outside say it's a day or 2. We'll still have to likely try to get excuses with the council and the king to re-enter the manor if we wanted to.
Let's just stay right outside the door.
They've given us time for. They've given us permission to have access to the door within a certain time frame, but who knows? Outside that time frame may have already passed.
Right. Well, all I'm saying is I'd rather not deal with the council. We already went to their parties, and I had more. I paid the price, the ultimate price, to get to this manor, and I'm not leaving this manor.
It's like, what do you mean?
She definitely stuck stuff in your urethra, man. She went hard.
That's
But
the only way to ingest that drug. I mean,
Lush Rossi also says, but there's another matter, which is Daggerface, you are our only way in and out of this place, and any time that you are outside, while you will have our protection, there's no telling what might happen that could cause you to be separated from us. And if that's the case, then we have no way of entering the manor.
Okay, if you say we should stay, then we'll stay. But
I'm-
I don't think we can expect to just run through the manor without ever resting properly.
I'm not suggesting that either. I'm just posing the difficulties that we need to assess and determine how to approach them,
And
as well
he
as my concerns.
finishes scribbling on his piece of paper, is looking down at it, and says, "Do you realize the hour we spent talking to the librarian was probably about 12 days outside?"
So we
Astros is light.
So we definitely passed our statute of time allotted.
That means it's the last day of Yule, beginning of the new year.
Was that important?
Means we missed Yule, but not otherwise.
Is Yule your favorite time of year, Daggerface?
I thought Yule was everybody's favorite time of year. Presents and drinking, and songs.
Ah, yes, the drinking.
Yes, Yule is a grand time of year, but let's get back and focus on topic. But by T-Hole's estimates, we probably have, or Daggerface's estimates and T-Hole's concerns, we probably have extended well past what the king is allowed. And if we were to exit now, surely they would be suspicious about the amount of time that we've spent in here. And I doubt that they would believe us if we were to say that there's some kind of temporal disturbance that has impacted what we've done here. Surely they would scrutinize us and believe that we have not been faithful to our end of the agreement.
Yes. So it's just really not worth dealing with it in the first place. So let's sit down for an hour. I'm gonna sip on my beer and spend some hit dice.
I am certainly capable of resting for an hour and getting back into the fight, but I do not want to speak for others. We are all tired after what we've encountered already. And we do need to make sure that we are able to survive whatever is still left in store for us.
T-Hole also has wizard tip, arcane recovery, that he can use on a short rest to recover some of his spell slots.
Yes.
Yeah.
But where I'm concerned is Zarius, since he doesn't have any kind of version of arcane recovery, and he's our resident bring us back to lifer.
Mm-hmm. I sure am.
Certainly that fight would have been very different.
Yeah.
I happen to be very good at it. If you do go down, you get a lot of hit points. I have spells. Just I've got
I was
two.
just picturing you're so much better when people go down that, like, maybe if somebody's on their last hit point, you just like stab them and then heal them.
Yeah. I've got a technique that I learned. It's a bonus action stab so that I can heal you as an action. Yeah, I mean, I've got 2 firsts and 1 of the rest, like 1 of each of the rest. So we might be able to open that door and dispatch with the rest of the skeletal creatures, but after that, we should take a extended rest.
I agree.
I am amenable to that. I imagine like spending hit dice is kind of similar to just having a first aid kit and wrapping your wounds and everything.
I've also already used my Pearl of Power for the day, so it has been handy. Probably just get rid of use them off. Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna use them all.
You'll need the long rest to get your hit dice back, or half of them.
What the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me? Jesus.
That's
This is the downside of that, all that wonderful healing when people are dead. Poor hit dice spending when you're alive.
Right. I mean, I was only down 15, but still.
Let's see. Do I get anything back on a short rest? I get my channel divinity. That would be nice. Nothing else.
Good. Use one more. That's better.
Also, if there's any time left in short rest, I'll be doing a little bit of work on my stone puzzle box that I found long ago at some point.
Give me an investigation check.
Whoa.
So finally, messing around with your puzzle
Wait a
box.
minute. It was a natural 20 and a natural 1.
But luckily, are you at disadvantage for some reason I'm not remembering?
No, I'm not. But that would be very funny and tragic.
So as you're fiddling with the different parts of the puzzle box, you manage to figure out that certain parts you've got to swing out of the way, away from the main part of the box together. But finally, you hear there's a snap inside, and the box begins to unfold. And inside, you see there is a gemstone.
Okay.
It appears to be it's more or less crystal. It's not. It's and somewhat irregularly shaped, but somebody spent the time putting it into this box. It's pretty, but it's hard to. You don't. It's not obviously of a mineral you recognize.
What is it again?
Crystal gemstone.
Yes.
Mm,
I
I can
okay.
virtually.
Is
I can-
the puzzle box salvageable to put it back together?
Yes, but give me an investigation check. This time with advantage. You're able to close it up again, and now you can basically open and close it at will.
Cool.
Are you
I'll,
casting detect magic?
I'm gonna ritually cast. Yeah.
Okay.
See if that gem lights up.
So yeah, I would mention to everybody, hey guys, I found this puzzle box back in, I think Alcator, or somewhere abouts there. I've been fiddling it for some time and finally opened it. I found this gem.
You were doing what with it now?
Fiddling.
Well, I'm not gonna touch it, but thanks for telling us.
Yes, the gemstone detects as magic. Actually, so does the puzzle box. The puzzle box has illusion magic on it, but it's very faint. The gemstone is enchantment and evocation, and is moderate.
So, can I cast identify as a ritual?
Yes, you can.
All right.
Forget how long identify takes to cast.
It's a minute.
Okay.
So as a ritual, it's 11 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's a gem of brightness. It has 50 charges.
So,
You guys all laughed at me playing with my gem, my puzzle box. I don't know if anybody laughed at me.
T-Hole laughed at you.
gem of
T-Hole, what is this?
It appears to be a gem of brightness. You can cause it to light up. You can cause it to blind a creature, or you can blind everybody within 30 feet.
Huh.
It is a. I remember back in the day having a cache of these after one of my successful campaigns against the village people.
Why would you fight the village people?
They were causing trouble.
Well,
Interesting.
I'm also pretty sure they are in the Navy.
Who's Navy?
The
Well,
village people Navy.
well, they were no match for my ships. That's for sure.
Navy. So they were of a blue dragonborn tribe then?
It was more like people that ran away and we needed to corral them more than anything, and they had a few ships. There wasn't really much of a navy. It was more like, local fishermen. But I digress. They ended up having this cache of gems of brightness. Very useful. They made for nice lanterns in my great hallways. Use it with care.
I shall.
So the hour passes. When you came in here, the servant had mentioned something about bringing you food, but you haven't seen him. The only other thing in this room you haven't really checked out, I mean, there's a water basin that I assume people have looked into, and it's basically just filled with clean, clear water. And then at the other end of the room near the door, there was a gem that was sticking out of the floor, sort of half, right in the corner between where the floor meets the wall. It appears to be made of ruby. It's about 6 inches long. It's like a rod of ruby.
Not like Asmodeus's ruby rod.
No, just a shard, more or less.
When your detect magic, did that see magic coming from it? I remember that we did at some point. I think we looked at it through detect magic, but I can't remember.
I don't know. It lasts for 10 minutes, so.
Yeah, it wasn't. It's the gemstone itself is not magical.
Yeah. not magical.
But it looks sort of out of place.
Maybe we can convince the devil to tell us what it is.
Unless we're willing to pay a higher price. I don't think that's an option.
Can we just take it?
You can try. Yeah, I mean, is it like stuck in the floor? Like, can we pick it up?
It's embedded in. It seems to almost like it's growing out of that floor and the corner of the floor and wall. So it's essentially fused to it, as near as you can tell.
If this is protruding in this direction, presumably on the other side there's some sort of crystal. I mean, there's a source. There's a source this is growing from. I'm curious on what is the other side of this room.
Yeah, give me an investigation check. You could sort of see through it. There's something cloudy, some dark shape inside it near the base, right near the floor. It doesn't look to you like you can see some of the wood paneling underneath it where it hits the floor. So it doesn't look like it's digging a hole in the floor and sticking out of it. It looks like for some reason it is just fused directly to the floor. Almost like somebody like glued it there.
Well, apparently not.
But the hour passes. Servant may be dropping the ball because he never brought you any food whatsoever.
Or he got killed.
I don't think he got killed, but there was probably something in there that might have held him up. People did mention that there may have been creatures in the kitchen.
It's also possible that time between this room is, or more likely, the time is different between the waiting room and the library. Given that when we originally came into the library, we noticed that there was a distinct difference in time.
This is possible.
You don't become emperor for nothing.
Either way, we should decide how to proceed. Where shall we be heading to next within this mansion? We still have the map that servant drew for us, correct?
Yep. It's in it's under the journal tab. You can see it again.
Yeah.
I was asking you in character.
I see.
Like who's holding it?
That's up to you. I'm not sure who picked it up.
Lay it down on the table.
Yeah, T-Hole would lay it down on the table. It says I have a map. It's probably the same map.
If we are to be fighting creatures, it may be beneficial to start in the armory. Perhaps there's something there that might aid us in our endeavors moving forward.
The armory is
relatively
where
close.
the armory is the door through which that the commander of the skeletons came out with a couple more skeletons.
The deadlier of the group should be dealt with then. Once we deal with the others, we should hopefully be free to go in there.
I mean, there's something of use in this stupid place.
Well, let's not go assuming, although the one creature was more powerful than the others does not mean that it was the most powerful among them. We need to be prepared. And Zarius, given how important it is that you remain safest among us, I think that you should probably hold back somewhat to provide support if necessary. We
I
can't
want to be
afford
first.
to lose you.
In the armory anyway. So I will take point.
So you open up the door to the next room. Once again, you see the room appears to be very dimly lit and gray. And slowly, after you open the door, you see the brightness of the room begins to glow. The fire, which appeared to be frozen in place, begins to crackle and move again, slowly at first, but increasing in speed. And you see the servant, who seemed to have been frozen in midair as he floats along, begins floating more quickly off in the direction of the kitchen. What, are you guys not going to rest? I was going to go into the kitchen and see if I could get you food, but that's going to take me a couple minutes.
You move too slow. Do better. Move the barrier from the door.
It would seem that whatever effects are happening temporarily within these rooms is maintained even if we leave it. These effects are not being broken. We must be cautious moving into the armory. We do not want to go in too quickly if there are others in there. That was a painful experience to learn from last time.
So everyone arrange yourself how you want to be.
Where are you taking the front?
Yeah, I got front.
All right.
I mean,
I'll be close behind Hellware.
Was this like a table, like a big table, or
Yes,
could
it's
I
a
see
table with
over
there's a bunch of stuff stacked up on the table, and it was technically flipped, but they don't have an image of a flipped table. So there was a bunch of stuff that was sort of all piled up, but there is a table there too.
I saw better from around here anyway, so I'll start.
So
I'm gonna cast protection from evil and good on Hellweir. Because he's Ashros' chosen and he could use the extra help.
if he's Ashros chosen, he doesn't need it. It's poor Lucirosi.
Lucirosi bristles and growls.
So as the door opens, last time you opened the door, there was this brilliant flash of light. That was kind of the inverse, you suspect, of what happened in this room where the fire was being dimmed because of the slow rate at which time was moving. This time, as the door opens, the other side is pitch black. So black that those of you with dark vision realize that is not natural black.
Now's the time to use your gem.
lucky.
All right. I'll pull it out and I'll shine it forward, see if it does anything.
The light does not penetrate the blackness of the hallway. And you hear, unnatural blackness, eh? Well, I wonder what that could be. Oh, wait, I have a pretty good fucking idea what that could be. But, of course, you don't want to, like, make a deal to figure out. Could really help, you know, because, man, dangerous. And not too hard to beat if you know the tricks to beating them.
Lucirosi just flat out ignores him.
Zarius will actually say something. He'll say, if we die, you'll never leave.
Listen, if you guys aren't going to make a deal with me, I'm not going to leave either. So I don't really see that me giving you free information without you making a deal with me is going to get me anything. Besides, you got to understand, I work on a completely different time scale than you guys. I don't die naturally. I can be here 10,000 years, and I will not die of old age the way you would. So, yeah, my real time frame, I got to say, is I don't want Paradonna's plan to work out. I don't know exactly how long that's going to take, but to the extent that I've got any time pressure at all, it's that. And you got that time pressure too. Besides, worst case, all she's going to do is her plan's going to work and I'm going to die and it's probably going to send me back to hell anyway, which was my backup.
T-Hole is just going to cast, he's going to cast this dispel magic on this area.
Let me check something. Okay, give me a caster level check.
Yeah, all right. 10 plus the spell's level.
Well, that's the DC. Your caster level check is your intelligence modifier plus a D20 roll.
So just click on intelligence on your character sheet.
Tell me what to do.
You're not my mother.
Boom.
So as you cast the spell, you see there's a wavering in the blackness for just a second, and then the darkness begins to almost melt away like it's a sort of a fog of ink floating in the air. And you see there are 3 creatures standing in front of you, gathered around the doorway, that all of whom look like this.
Swig.
They have hands embedded in their eyes, and they seem to be seeing their way around by staring through the eyes in their hands. None of them have eyes in their heads. The skin just seems to be sort of stretched over what were once sockets. The skin is sort of a gray, sickly color, suggesting they may not be entirely alive. Certainly humanoid at one point. They have no noses on their faces, so it's not clear even what race they may have been when they were alive. Roll initiative as they also realize you've dispelled their darkness.
Don't forget to click on your character.
My dude.
God damn it.
Damn it.
Oh,
Don't-
wait, I already clicked on it because I moved him. Yes.
Don't enter the room. Let the,
A lot of 9s there.
let them come to us. I think that is the safest way to deal with these creatures as we jump between rooms after what happened last time.
I mean, Hellweir's standing right there. He's about to get
Damn it,
mauled.
Hellweir.
He's about to get
Hellweir.
mauled.
You get to go first, but you realize as you're looking at them, you begin to feel an almost sick feeling washing over you as you're staring at the eyes in their hands. So you have a choice. You can avert your gaze,
Uh-huh.
or something bad could happen.
Hmm. Yeah, I think I'll avert my gaze.
Okay, so you can't see any of them, so you'd be at disadvantage attacking them,
Yeah.
but they're not going to affect you with whatever this is.
So we want so T Hell was saying let them in this room kind of thing. Is that what you were trying to say?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll use disengage and just back up. Can I push the table out of the way, like with my body?
You could move it a little bit. Like you can't just.
Yeah,
You could throw it back like 5 feet.
yeah. Let's do that. Let's push it that way a bit. Perfect.
Anything else you're doing?
Can
I forgot
Like, I-
Dagger Face. I always forget Dagger Face.
It's
can I like loose an arrow at them, but not look at them at the same time, like disadvantage attack?
Yeah, you could shoot an arrow at them.
Okay.
That does not hit.
Yeah. Cool. That's me.
So, Lucirosi, your turn.
All right. Do I notice this sickly feeling? And do I get
Yes.
the sense that it's coming from their eyes?
Yes.
Okay. So, Asheros's grace is good. And then, so Lucirosi will close his eyes, cover his face, pull out his gem of brightness and say, if these creatures appreciate the dark, I'm sure that they'll hate the light. And then he blasts the gem using the 5 charge variant.
you see T-hole like behind Lucirosi, just like gagging.
Okay, let me roll these saving throws.
Saving.
So, just for purposes of this, let's just say you kind of step like there-ish before blasting them, so you got them all. And now you
Okay.
can move where you want. So 5 feet of movement, and then feel free to move. And one of them is blinded.
Okay. Can I use an action point to do another 5 charges and try it again?
Yep, I would allow that.
Okay.
It's got 50 charges. That's it. That's all it's got. They don't recharge.
Yeah, I know.
Why the fuck we give this thing to him?
You didn't. I got it. You had no choice in the matter.
I was asking why we gave it to you.
It's better him using it than giving it to demons or something. So.
Devils.
So you blinded 2 of them.
All right, and then I will use.
Do it again.
I will then move myself right here, and I know that I may take a attack of opportunity, but he's blinded, so whatever.
Yeah, I don't think you could get an attack of opportunity when you're blinded.
Okay.
Just awkwardly like feel you up as you walk past.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll let everybody know. I think I blinded a few of them, but avert your gaze. Their eyes have some mystical power.
We'll say they go after you guys, so Kajika, you can go.
I mean,
Alright,
I'm assuming that I'm like super slow with my -1 dex, so it's cool if they go before me.
I am going to switch out my musket, ready in action. As soon as they step through the threshold, I'm going to shoot them.
Okay.
Do they appear speeded up? Or sped up?
They're not moving that much, but from the rate at which their arms were kind of moving around scanning things, yes, it seems as if they were moving faster than a normal person would.
Okay.
So Zarius, What do you want to do?
I don't have a ton of options here. Let me step. Let me see. Here.
Oh, I do want to avert your gaze or not.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'll do it for now, and then I will. Probably not going to do just anything yet, but I'll take it. So I'll take a bonus action, and I'll whisper to my staff, and the snakehead becomes animated. And then I will. I'll hold my action for if I hear one of them. I guess hear one of them since I'm not looking. Step within reach, and I will jab him with the venomous snakehead of my staff.
Okay. So you see, the two who can't see do not approach the door or to go through. The third one seems to disappear from sight, moving off in essentially in the direction away from the door that leads to the armory.
They're done. They're just running.
And Daggerface, Daggerface is going to step up through you guys to here, and he's not going to avert his gaze. Oh, poor Daggerface. So you see, as Daggerface begins to step up, you can see he is not looking away from them, so the eyes are still pointed in his direction. As he's moving, you see he sort of stops and falters a bit, and an almost ghostly duplicate of Daggerface begins to pull out of his physical body, moving sort of out and then retreating back in, and he screams out in pain as that happens. And blood begins to just gush out of his nose and mouth.
A +3 wouldn't help to him, would it?
Nope.
Mm,
And you realize a rare occurrence for him. He is clearly bloodied, as in below half his hit points.
Did he not get to recover any during that rest?
What? Do you think he has hit dice? He's an NPC.
Yeah. Monsters and stuff have hit die.
Well, he doesn't have
No, but he doesn't spend them to heal. That's a PC thing.
He doesn't use an
Not.
action.
Yeah, whatever. I make my monsters have hit die.
Well, monsters, sure, but NPCs, no. They're expendable.
Not this one.
No, not this one.
We don't know if we can get out of this fucking place without him. Or maybe a Reggie is here.
But he hits and delivers two pretty massive blows to this thing, and then stumbles backwards and retreats. How far are we gonna get? Oh, that's about as far as he can get.
Yeah.
Back to where he was. T-Hole, your turn. Are you averting your gaze?
Yeah, Teal's gonna avert his gaze. He's gonna walk up to the barrier here. And he's going to let's see. Let's see. He's gonna cast he like holds out his hand and like the air starts to thumb and he's gonna do Thunder Wave.
Ooh, nice.
So it's a 15-foot cube. So I'm going to like hit like this 15-foot cube to get these two.
Which 15-foot cube?
Like basically this can you see my?
Yeah, I saw.
So it'd be like these here.
Yep. So, what's the save? Is a con save or what is it?
Con save. And neither of them make it.
Actually, that was because I forgot to roll to see if their blindness cleared.
Oh, okay.
So,
Is that for both of them?
yeah, they both fail.
Wonderful.
So,
If they were blinded before, did that not affect Daggerface then?
what do you mean? No, it still affected Daggerface.
Okay.
And I'm casting level 1.
So 12 thunder damage.
Yes.
We're ringing the bell. Everybody knows we're here.
So, Lucirosi or Hellweir, you can decide who wants to go.
Hellware went first last time, so you go.
Yeah, I think I got something for this time. All right, so I'm gonna walk up to the barrier again, and this guy here, I'm gonna try and grapple him. So what's the penalty if I not avert my gaze? Am I just getting a disadvantage attacks kind of thing,
You can make a con save.
or is it
Right.
just-
You might be affected by whatever this thing is they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
No, you would
Hellware,
make
you're a big fighter. You got a good con save. Plus, you get a +3 bonus because you're so close to my awesomeness.
Wow, so cool. All right, let's stare at this guy right in his eyeball and try to wrestle with him.
Just imagine it's an elf.
Also, you have protection from evil and good.
Yeah. What about psychic damage?
That should give you like advantage, I think. So
It does.
not that it matters. Oh, that's the athletics. You probably need to roll your con save right quick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you have to roll your con save.
Okay.
Okay, you
Miss 11? Yeah.
take you feel as your soul is being pulled out of your body towards the eye on the guy you're about to grapple, and you take 40 necrotic damage.
Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Really?
Ooh.
Y'all
Am I
need
not
to avert your
protected by
gaze.
anything?
What was that?
No protections, not.
Well, the protection would have given you advantage.
So it'll be,
Yeah.
so it'll be 11.
Only if it's undead, or fiend or celestial, right?
Or elementals, fae. So,
Delivery drivers.
Oh man, that's not fire. Okay. Anyways, does he still get grappled?
Yes, he is definitely grappled.
All right. Good.
You're just throwing up, vomiting blood on him.
Yeah.
The important
Come
things
here.
of life. Oh shit, Hellware, you took Ranger before you took Fire, didn't you?
No.
So you don't have proficiency in con.
Yeah, I don't. Oh no, I do. Oh shit.
How do you? Okay, how do you?
Hang on.
How do you
I don't.
know
I don't think I didn't click save. I just did check.
Oh,
Oh.
so then that would be a 12 plus 3. That'd be a 15, right? Because we got a
Yeah,
+4
would be.
proficiency bonus.
Yeah, I have a. It says.
No, we
five.
have a +3
Plus
proficiency
three.
bonus.
Plus 3.
But you
Yeah.
don't you have a plus from what's his
Plus
name?
Then from
five.
Lucirosi.
Yeah.
It's 5 plus 3, so.
So, well, yeah.
I mean, you already rolled. You rolled a 6.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
on your save, so that's
Yeah.
6 plus 3 is 9 because you're proficient in the save.
Yeah.
Plus your con bonus, which is apparently 2.
11 plus
11 plus 3 is 14.
So that's still
Okay.
well.
Well,
Unless he
yeah.
gets advantage. Does he get advantage because of the protection from good and evil?
plus 1 from action point.
Well, I don't think you get advantage on your saves from protection from good and evil. I think they get disadvantage on trying to hit you.
yeah.
But you could spend an action point and take your second roll, which succeeded.
I'm just gonna. I'm not gonna go back that far now. I'll just take the 40 damage.
What? Do you just have like hit points like for days?
Yeah, I do. Now I'm gonna drag this guy in
You
into
piece of
this
shit.
room. So he's gonna go here. Now all of you guys stare at him. We're gonna take 120 damage.
If he has him grappled and is dragging him past, does that open up an attack of opportunity?
No, you have to use your movement in order to trigger an attack of opportunity.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And then I'm gonna well when he's here, I'm gonna use my second action to maybe
When you got him grappled, you get advantage on your attack rolls. with grappling.
yeah.
Poke him in his
And
eye.
you've already looked at him, so I mean, you might as well keep looking at him.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna I was thinking about tossing him, but I was like, no, because that'll break my grapple. So let's just hand axe him in the hand. All right, that's what he takes.
So you've dragged him to there.
Yeah.
So Lucirosi, I guess.
All right. So I'm gonna avert my gaze because he's blinded anyways. So that means that the disadvantage and advantage cancels out, right? So it's just normal attack.
The averting your gaze is because of some field that's being projected out of him.
Right, but he's still blinded.
Right, but his eye is still there, emitting whatever this is.
Right, but what I'm saying is I'm going to avert my gaze, so that would normally give me disadvantage on my attacks,
Right.
but I would get advantage
yeah,
because he's blinded.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
Would that just cancel out then?
Yes.
All right, I'm just going to go pummel him with thoughts and prayers.
I thought you just want to. Don't you just? Yeah, that's what I thought. Stop using prayers. It's not working for you.
Did the first thoughts hit?
No, it didn't.
Okay. And this guy just did 40 damage to Hellweird just because Hellweird looked at him. So that's action point worthy. I'm gonna use an action point to do another attack, and fine. I'll give the audience what they want. Well, I can't do thoughts all 3 times, but I can do thoughts twice.
Hey, look, thoughts are so good.
Oh my god, it really is.
Apparently, thoughts are better than prayers. We're gonna lose some viewership for now.
Yeah, it's fine. We've already lost our whole demographic, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to increase our quota of dick jokes.
So you pummel him. You can hear the bones beneath its gray skin snap. You notice it seems to never emit much of a sound. It has a mouth. You're not sure if it speaks, but it doesn't seem to moan or otherwise. It hasn't issued any sounds whatsoever since you've seen it.
Okay.
Kajika. You actually could have taken your readied action when it got pulled through the door. I'll say that counted. So you could take an extra attack.
He was grappling them.
Right.
Yeah, I was dragging him. I was grabbing him by his head and just like, come on over here.
All right, I think I get a clear shot, so just be a regular shot because this dude's blinded too, right?
Right. I assume you're averting your gaze?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just a normal attack roll.
All right. Take that, motherfucker.
And as the bullet rips into him, you can see that there's just a trickle of what appears to be black blood drips down.
Okay. My second action to reload and move back up here. All right.
What about your next action?
Here to reload. That's your second action.
Yeah.
No, but you get 2 attacks, right? Is it a full action or is it an attack action?
It takes one of his. When you get 2 attacks, you have to use one of your attacks to reload the gun because it's reload 1.
Right. So, but what about your ready? So was that your
So
ready
yeah,
action?
you had a readied action that you could have used when he got pulled through the door. That's what I was saying before.
Gotcha. Oh, okay, cool. All right, well, I'll do that then. The musket. One more time for feeling. Here we go. All right.
So a second line of blood begins to pour down its body as you shoot it in the side.
Cool.
Zarius.
Oh. Would be really handy is if we had some gloves. We could just put them on and then we don't have to worry about it. Then they would be blinded too.
So let Duda go find some mittens.
Howler's already grappling him. Maybe he's the best one to put mittens on him.
I'll just. I know. So I know there's one. Here we go. I know there's one here. I will. I'll step forward. I'll tell the helper guy. I forgot what his name is. What he calls servant. Yeah, that's it. I'll find some gloves, and I'll avert my gaze and have my Viper staff, staff of the Adder, attack here. Hey, all right.
That's a hit. You have to make a con save.
Yeah, it looks like DC 15.
Is that for poison?
Yeah.
Okay.
Perhaps it doesn't matter.
We'll say he makes it.
Sure. Yeah.
But he takes some damage.
Well played, DM. Well played.
I'll go ahead and step another step here, and so I'm not really looking at him, obviously, but I could see the door here, so I'll just keep an eye on the door.
Okay.
All right.
The one who is grappled, he didn't really fight the grapple. You noticed, like he didn't try to prevent you from grappling him.
That's nice.
It's because he wanted it.
He is, however, going to attempt to claw at you with disadvantage. And that does not hit. And then you see he takes his other hand and places it flat on your chest. Oh, I forgot to roll. It didn't roll, actually.
Oh, good. Like a free attack? What?
I clearly have that set up wrong, so.
Jeez.
Damn it. So he hit you with this flat palm attack.
Uh-huh.
And you find you go completely rigid and can't move, and you take 27 necrotic damage.
Ooh.
How's he looking?
I'm pretty banged up.
Where's your health at, Howler? You've just taken 67 points of damage.
What's bloodied? Like 3/4?
50%.
Oh, way past bloodied.
Well, don't worry. I'm going to let you go down first before I heal you.
Yeah, I trust you. I'll see you on the other side. Get that dagger ready.
And then the other two. This one. Okay, and then they, the two blinded ones, try to shake off their blindness. However, one does that.
By shaking their hands up.
Shake it like a Polaroid picture.
Daggerface is going to avert his gaze this time. But he's going to try to Daggerface, not looking, raises his double-bladed axe into the air.
Oh god.
And just tries to chop at the pile that is Hellweir and this creature. Although he does swing from the side the creature's on, so hopefully not hitting you.
Hey, all right.
Cool.
Is this one still blinded?
No, I just haven't taken the thing off yet.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
But he manages to hit him twice, digging the axe into him. The second hit, hitting with more force than you might have otherwise expected due to the magic of his axe. And this thing looks like it's probably on the verge of falling apart.
Excellent.
T-Hole's turn.
Let's see, I guess I can't see the creatures anymore. T-Hole is going to he's going to turn around and just cast Firebolt.
Wait, don't you have a melee-based cantrip?
No. I have True Strike, but that's not melee. It's just a buff.
You're averting your gaze, I assume?
Yes.
So, since you're averting your gaze, you'd have been at disadvantage anyway, so it doesn't really matter that this is arranged.
Oh, okay.
It's the same either way.
So there's no double disadvantage.
Right.
No, Mike. That's only in your games.
So the firebolt, unfortunately, goes a little wide and does not impact him.
Okay. That'll be my turn.
So Hellweir or Lucirosi.
Okay.
Alright.
Who wants to finish him off?
You're next. You've been going first, so.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
Well, Hellweir is actually paralyzed until
Oh,
the
yeah,
end of
you
this
can't.
turn.
Oh, I am, aren't I? Shit.
Yep. So this creature still has its palm flat against Hellweir's chest. Hellweir has gone rigid. The creature still doesn't seem to even be struggling against the arm that's pinning him, as it is happily absorbing his soul.
All right. Lucirosi, you're on.
But at the end of your turn, you do regain mobility.
Hopefully I'll still get it.
Does this creature seem like it's healing from what it's doing to Hellweir?
Give me an insight check. You don't think it's healing exactly, but it is taking, for some reason, for a creature that's about to die, extremely focused on draining the soul out of Hellweir. So there must be some advantage to it.
I'm gonna, as I start attacking, I'm gonna call it to Zarius. Zarius, do not let Hellweir fall. This thing may be trying to create more of its kind. And then averting my gaze
They seem pretty effective in battle. That might help us.
because I cannot take a 40 point hit. I will do a couple of attacks.
Oh
Oh,
boy.
what a surprise!
Yep.
Thoughts doing all the work.
So I'm gonna use my divine sense to give one of these a +10 to hit. So I made the attack rolls first before seeing, so I don't know, Kurt, how you want to do it. If I can choose which one, or if you're gonna choose which one.
No,
But
I will let you choose which one, and I think I can guess which of the three you will pick. Actually, you don't really you
no, it's
don't
guided
actually
strike, actually.
right, and you might as well save it because the first two strikes with thoughts cause the thing to bones break and it just its neck jerks and it goes limp and falls to the ground.
Anything happen to Hellweir
Wow.
when that happens?
Nothing obvious.
Get at Hellware avert my
Hellware, are you okay?
Yeah, am I still rigid? Like, is this like
No,
a-
you are now you are now free to move again. It would have worn off at the end of your turn. Your turn is kind of contemporaneous with Luciorosi's, but
Okay, yeah. I just look at you guys and I'm like, I'm okay, and I hit myself with a second wind, and oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
he hits himself with a second wind, but he's still gasping. He can't quite catch his breath.
The wind went the wrong
Well,
direction.
actually, I'm sorry that you can absolutely do that on your next turn, but there were two other ones. So let me see what other people do before
Okay,
you
yeah,
second wind and all that.
that's true. Yeah.
So Kajika, this thing is now dead. Hellware appears as though he's was paralyzed for a brief second there, but he seems to have regained control of his muscles again.
I'll just hang out right here, ready in action, in case one comes into sight.
Okay. What are you doing, Zarius?
Yeah, I can't see any, but two of them ran.
Yeah, two
Yes.
of them are somewhere else.
Well, I mean, I'm staying back, so the poison was obviously not useful. So I'll whisper to the staff again, and it stopped moving, and then I'll just wait to see what everybody else does, I guess.
Okay.
We could perhaps. I will say we could perhaps move to the armory.
So Kajika, give me your attack roll as they both appear in clearly some sort of invisibility as they just appear in the doorway. They don't move into the doorway. And they are both attacking T-Hole.
Okay.
Oh, rip.
T-Hole's
okay.
dead.
It's okay, I'm here.
But
I'm gonna give.
Kajika gets to attack first.
So disadvantage.
If yes, you're averting your gaze, then yes.
Yep. 14.
That does not hit.
Dang.
It
Okay.
was nice knowing you, T-Hole. It sucks, but
Yeah.
we will find a way to move on.
Let me just fix something real fast before I roll this because I know it's messed up. There we go.
All right. Move, reload.
Okay, so they both rake at and then place hands on T-Hole.
One of them, I'm going to use my portent.
Okay, well, we'll say it's not that one, since that one missed anyway. What's your portent roll?
I had a 3 and a 19, so I'm going to make that one a 3.
Okay, so the 6 misses. You don't necessarily know which attack coming in is which. You know that they're kind of like reaching out at you with both hands. So, do you want to which of the next 3 attacks do you want to inflict the portent on?
The next, this upcoming one.
Okay, so the next one is also then I could say going to miss, and then the one next to it first claws at you, and I'm pretty sure it misses.
Yeah, it misses.
And then it reaches out with its other claw and misses. So that was very. Oh, you know what? I forgot. They were sort of attacking invisibly, so technically they kind of had advantage.
Now who's the dick
But that's a
DM?
miss. That's a miss. A miss. So only the last one hit. You also got hit with this flat palm attack they do. It begins to feed on your soul, and you can feel it as the life energy is draining out of you. It does 24 damage, and you're paralyzed.
Can I use a counter spell?
I'd let you use a counterspell and an action point because it's not really a spell.
That's fair. I can do that.
Okay, so that you managed to use counterspell to cancel out the magic that is allowing this creature to create the connection between its eye and your soul.
Yeah, so it's like I would imagine like there's like some like waxy thing that forms over like a magic wax that prevents that. So does it still do damage, or does it?
No, I'll just say it's pulling your soul out. So I'll say no, it doesn't do any damage.
Okay.
Once you've counterspelled it.
Okay.
Daggerface will race up and attack with disadvantage.
Oh god.
What does he say when he runs up?
He
Re-attack.
says, Daggerface! But he only hits once, this one. The one right in front of him. That one's actually, he had hit that one before, and that one's gotten pummeled quite a bit. And is also, you can see there is a lot of clearly broken bones beneath its thin skin. Blood is pouring from various parts of its body. T-Hole, it's your turn.
T-Hole's going to cast Thunder Wave again.
Nice.
Okay.
And he's gonna upcast it to fourth level. Come on, there we go.
So is it half damage on a successful save?
Yes, and they're not pushed.
That one got pushed.
How far do they get pushed?
It's like 5 or 10 feet, something like that.
I think it's 10 feet. But he kind of gets pushed into a wall. He can't really go much further than the wall. It's like directly away from you. So I could put him here or here.
Mm-hmm.
10 feet, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Do you take like force damage from hitting the wall?
Nope.
Damn.
That's
You're not a nice DM, are
He's
you?
got to but Kurt doesn't deal whiplash damage, so
Yeah. That's not a
Oh,
damage
man.
type in this world.
We whiplash damage.
So Lucirosi or Hellweir can go.
You got to use an action point to get that whiplash damage.
I'm gonna use before that. I'm gonna use my bonus action, for Misty Step, and I'm going to teleport behind me.
So you begin to cast a spell, Misty Step. You notice Daggerface looks over and gives you the nod of two people who are on the front lines fighting side by side, and then you Misty Step backward.
Hellweir, you can use a bow, right?
What's that, sorry?
You can use a bow.
A bow? Yeah, I can use a bow, yeah.
Okay. With your condition, do you mind if Lucirosi steps up to the front line and you just use your bow?
Alright. I think so.
All right. You want to go first, or you want to?
No, you can go first. It makes more sense.
Okay. So I'll go right here to join Daggerface. And then averting my gaze. 3 attacks there and that guy.
So,
Did it again.
well, he's averting his gaze, so he's at disadvantage.
Right, but that's still 2 attacks.
Yeah.
Right.
16, 21.
And then after those first 2 attacks, is this guy still up?
He's still up.
All right, so I'm going to use my guided strike then for the last one.
Okay. And he's still up.
Okay.
He's not at all well, but he's probably undead. So it didn't start all well. You imagine, another good hit or two from you or from Daggerface could probably drop him. Sure. Never mind that. You actually can't see him because you're not looking at him.
Right.
So who knows? So Hellweir, it's your turn.
All right.
I assume you're averting your gaze.
Yeah, I'm averting my gaze. So we're going to shoot some arrows at him. Bam. That didn't work. What?
Nothing happened, man.
All right, how about that one? What?
Nope.
What the hell? I'm clicking on the thing. I think
Maybe it's taken a while for them to get from
Oh,
Australia.
God. We're gonna get a lot through.
Yep.
Oh boy.
We had to.
Wow.
Oh boy.
That is a lot.
I was
That is
thinking.
four shots at disadvantage, all miss. I think we can assume whatever shots you take this round have missed.
Yeah, I'll take it. Okay.
Those little hamsters got tired.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
They couldn't run that data all the way over here.
taking a sweet ass time.
We're so jaded. That is literally a button press from the other side of the world, and we're like, why isn't it going through yet? I haven't seen the number.
What a world we live in.
So
yeah,
what else? Anything else you were doing this round other than shooting?
No, that's me. I'm going to complain about the internet as well. And how Kazakhstan has better internet than Australia does. Kazakhstan.
I've been to Kazakhstan. That is something.
The end.
So Kajika, it's your turn.
Well, there's a nice big crowd of melee fighters in front of me. So I will just wait for them to move their ass out of the way so I can shoot somebody.
You can shoot through people. It's just that they get like a +2 to their armor.
Well, and I'm at disadvantage, so I'm just going to wait.
That is an interesting question. How do you avert your gaze and shoot through people without hitting people?
Maybe we've been here like 2 weeks. I won't give a shit. But now I'm not at that point.
It's like
I picture it more like instead of looking at the hands that are like up here, you're looking at their feet or something. So you like know where you're supposed to be aiming. But
Well, I kind of picture it like that one scene in the original It, where they got the hand in front, and then like when Beverly she kind of lines up the shot with her hand, and then like looks away.
So, Zarius, what did you want to do?
I shall. That guy right there, I'm going to hit with a Sacred Flame.
Boom,
I'll diverting gaze, but it shouldn't matter because they got to make a save for it.
Right.
and also
If
it doesn't. They don't benefit from cover. So.
Yeah.
He failed.
10 radiant.
So this one gets hit with the sacred flame. You can see the black blood begins to burn as the sacred flame hits it, and then it just falls to the ground.
Cool.
And for those of you who can see where the third one is, it disappears.
Again.
Careful, everyone. Be on your guard. It's definitely around here somewhere.
That's certainly true.
Daggerface is readying an action for in case it comes back. Keyhole.
D-Hole is going to he's going to cast True Strike on Lucirosi.
Thank you.
You know, to help when he's not looking and averting his gaze and swinging.
Okay. I can say you sort of wait around. Everybody's ready for something to happen, and nothing does. So we are out of rounds.
I will very carefully go
My
through the hallway and look on both sides, see if I can see anything.
You see nothing.
Zarius was watching the door. Did he notice? Zarius, did you notice anything opening the door? Passing through it?
That's a
No.
mighty fine question.
Actually, that is yeah. For a second there, I was actually waiting for Zarius to answer that. but I will say you did not actually see the door move.
Okay.
I shall relay that.
All right. I think while we are relatively unaware of any other creatures around, perhaps we should try to open the door.
So in this corridor, you see there are chairs and small tables that are sort of littered around the corridor. There are clearly other hallways at both ends of the corridor, in addition to this door that apparently leads to the armory. There is what appears to be an enormous emerald that also seems to be fused to the floor, very similar to the ruby in the entrance room. Although this one clearly within it seems to have embedded a humanoid body, probably not human from the size of it, but maybe the size of a relatively small elf or maybe a half elf.
Was this here before?
Yes.
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
Just you were in the middle of a fight, so it didn't really
Yeah.
come up.
All right, I'm going to attempt to open the door.
You find the door is locked.
All right. Does it appear to have any kind of locking mechanism?
Yes, it clearly does have a keyhole.
Okay. So, being one of the few paladins that has proficiency in thieves' tools, I'm going to pull out my thieves' tools and attempt to open the lock.
Okay. And you see the servant flies out. He's carrying flowers, which he places on this table.
And then before he continues, he's like, wait a minute. Servant, can you open this door?
Yeah, sure. And he comes up. One of his arm appendages kind of withdraws within his body, and out comes a little claw-like appendage that's holding a key. And he unlocks the door.
Thank you, servant.
Well,
Would you mind opening the door for us and leading the way?
Uh,
Lushiroshi, I didn't know you had it in you.
am I going to get killed?
If anything attacks you, by my word and honor as a paladin of Astros, I will come to your rescue.
I think they're taking his soul.
So that's a yes.
So the door swings open as he pushes it aside. There are orbs of light that activate as the door opens up. The room itself is divided into several aisles of tall, long shelves full of all manner of equipment. Two of the shelves in the back appear to have collapsed, and so there's just piles and piles of equipment, more even than the shelves could have held at one point. So perhaps somebody dragged additional equipment into there. You could see there are no chairs in here, so it's not clear what the additional demonic skeleton creatures were doing in here. But that is really all you see. There are just rows of racks and equipment, and then these piles of junk towards the back.
Servant, do you know what the contents are of this room? Do you know specifically what these things are?
No, that's not really something I needed to know. I mean, it was mostly like gear for outfitting various inquisitors, and so there was some weapons, and there was a lot of armor, a lot of Aregia's stuff got stored in here at one point. But there was also like stuff to travel with, and so rope and tents and grappling hooks and pitons and all manner of junk.
I see.
Servant, do you happen to know what these crystals are?
They're the light orbs. They're really just enchanted lights.
This giant green crystal here?
Oh, those. I'm not sure what those are. They weren't here last time I was in this part of the house.
Were they not?
When was the last time you were in this part of the house?
That was right before we barricaded up the great room so that the demons wouldn't get us.
Interesting.
So if I'm done being bait, he starts floating away.
Thank you, servants. You've been most helpful. Zarius, T-Hold, perhaps you can search this room to see if there's anything valuable that might be able to aid us. Meanwhile, I'll keep watch out here to see if those other creatures return.
It will take some time.
If we broke into this place for junk, I don't know what it would be.
Well, we might as well see.
I guess I'll take 10 minutes here, I guess.
While they're doing that, I'm gonna look down this hallway to see if I see anything.
Yeah. There goes my 10 minutes. No.
So you're looking down that other hallway. That's down that hallway. You can see there are several doors off to one side. There's a recessed corridor here that also seems to lead to its own door. So basically, at the front end of the corridor, you see these two doors. According to the map, one of them, the one nearest to you, leads to the bathroom. The other one leads to a pool or a large bath. To the right, down the corridor, from the corner of your eye, you see the corridor itself seems to stretch, and it's almost like you can't really, when you look at it, tell how long the corridor is. From moment to moment, it looks like it might be 25 feet long, then 50, then 30. And it's disorienting to even stare at it for too long because you can't get a bearing on the exact distance between you and the end of the corridor. There are wooden doors in the corridor. They're they seem to be spaced about 10 feet apart. And if you focus on just the walls between them, you lose the disorienting effect of looking at the back wall. But clearly there's something odd about the way the corridor is functioning, which may be related to the time thing or maybe some other effect.
Okay. I'll stay kind of here. I'll avoid gazing all the way down the corridor to try and keep from being disoriented. But this way, in case anything comes down, I'll be able to give out a cry. And I guess meanwhile, while I'm kind of vigilant, I'll also be kind of looking at this thing a little bit more. If I can do that too.
Which thing?
The green emerald, to try and get a better sense of maybe if I can get any sense of what it might be or see any details of who seems to be within it.
Okay. So I guess everybody who's searching or looking at something, give me an investigation roll.
Quick question. Did I recognize these flowers that the servant brought in?
Do you have like herbalism or nature?
I have survival.
Give me a survival check. You would recognize everything in the table in the great room. Appears to be more or less normal species of flowers, as far as you can tell.
Okay.
So just decoration, nothing inherently special about them.
Nothing, none of them being edible, since this is a survival check, or poisonous.
Yeah, like
none of them are poisonous. You probably could eat some of them.
None of them, like when mixed together, their aromas like fuck with your head or anything.
Or make fine teas.
What's Daggerface doing?
That's true. Daggerface is not super interested. He'll probably be next to Hellweir, waiting to be attacked.
Okay, so I can quit watching him, and I'll move over here.
Assuming
okay,
it's
so first dealing with the armory first. There is definitely some magical equipment in this room. Most of the magical equipment is located in the weapons rack near the front. There's something magical in one of the two piles in the back, and the one that's along the further wall. But it seems to be buried amongst a bunch of other things. You also find there's what appears to be a large strong box in the other pile that, from the sound of it shaking, it appears to be filled with coins.
Mm. Cool. Well, I'll point out the magic, whatever is magical here.
There is a long sword, a suit of plate armor. There's a haversack, which I guess gives away what that is. There's
but we don't know what's within it. Ooh,
right. That's true. I, because I'm a dick DM, rule that your detect magic won't detect the magic that's inside the haversack.
Sure. Sure. I get it. That's fine.
It's in an extra
It's
dimensional
extra dimensional space. I mean, yeah, I'd do the same thing. So yeah, so I'll just in case anything is like, I don't know, like this place is all fucked up, so I don't want to touch anything directly. So I'll point them out to people, and then perhaps I'll have.
I think it's just you, Hellweir, and T-Hole in this room.
Yeah, I'll point them out to T-Hole so that he knows, so he can perhaps identify them, and then I'll indicate to Hellweir to use his big strong arms to start clearing away some of this rubble.
All right.
To find the other thing.
So as you're trying to find the magical thing, I assume.
Yeah.
So you are directing Hellweir to clear all the rubble. As you do that, you see
what pops out. What's in the box?
Yeah. As you're throwing things aside, looking for whatever's magical, you pick up a backpack and begin to throw it. And as you even pick it up, your hand almost sinks into it a bit. And you see a large mouth opens up filled with teeth, and pseudopods spring out of the sides of it as the backpack begins to just crawl and run and runs away from you, diving into the other pile.
Well, okay, well that's nice.
Well, yeah, it didn't kill us.
It didn't attack us, so.
Were they like sharp teeth? Were they like?
No, they were sharp teeth.
So it's like a baby mimic.
It was the size of a backpack, so it was reasonably big.
At least it's not a house mimic.
And as it moves, you notice, Zarius notices that the magic moves with it.
Oh. Catch that backpack. Whatever is magical is in it.
I just keep pushing through the pile.
So you're now looking for the mimic. Make me a perception check.
Perception. Bam.
So you notice when it dove into the pile, as it was digging its way in, it ceased to be a backpack and changed itself into a saddle. So you're now digging, looking for the saddle, which you find quickly, but roll initiative.
Oh, fuck, I didn't click on myself.
While they're rolling initiative, did I notice anything with my investigation check of the emerald?
I also have to roll initiative, so.
No.
So the mimic gets to go first. It jumps to the back wall as you're digging for it, and you hear it yelling, "Nongri! Nongri!" Then it's your turn.
Is that a language we understand?
No, it is not.
Okay. I run over to it with my greatsword. Let me try to swing at it.
So you hit.
Oh yeah, and this as well. Where is it? It's a D6. Where the fuck it is? There it is.
Okay. On its turn, it runs away from you, so you can take an opportunity attack.
Cool.
And as it's running away, it's just yelling, "Nongri! Nongri!" And it dives into the other pile. And both of you and Zaris can make me a perception check.
T-hole doing?
I'm
Well, the plate armor's probably heavy, so he's probably like old man styling, putting it away.
So just only Hellweir noticed that as it was hiding in the pile again, it changed into a bedroll.
Are any of us outside hearing this?
Yeah, you can hear the fighting.
Chica, what's going on in there?
Who knows what they're up to?
I would like to know. It sounds like not great. Then Lucirosi will walk in.
And you see Hellweir is for some reason just beating on a pile of junk with his greatsword. Although one of the bits of junk, you can't quite see it because of all the racks in front of you. You do hear some creature's voice yelling, Nongri!
Do I recognize that language?
Nope.
It's not goblin.
Sarius, what is Hellweir doing?
We're trying to kill this creature.
What creature and why?
It houses something magical within it.
That is not a reason to end a life. Did it attack you?
It flees.
Oh, it flees because it values its life? Because you are clearly threatening it? Lucirosi will try to intervene and stop what's going on.
Like, get out of my way! I'm killing this damn thing. I hunt him up and I hit it with a hunter's mark, so I can't get away.
All right. Well, I'm gonna try and grab Hellweir and pull him away.
Oh,
Trying to
good.
grapple
Contested
me?
grapple check.
Trying to grapple with me?
Yeah, this is so. Oh, this is not gonna be great.
Don't you roll that nat 20? Don't you do it? Good.
All right, so that's my first.
So actually, I guess Lucirosi, you can give me your initiative as well.
I'm gonna go up to Dagger and tell him to come back inside the armory.
All right, I'm gonna use my second attack to try and grapple.
Okay. I'm dead set killing this bag. Bedroll.
bedroll saddle.
The mimic leaps up and turns into a cape and drapes itself around Lucirosi.
Lucirosi should probably be scared now.
And you notice
I'm disturbed. I'm
I'm
disturbed, but I'm glad that it gives me an opportunity to intervene and say, Hellweir, stop! We don't even know what this thing is. This might be something that Mordenkainen himself created.
Zarius, you notice that when it did that, it left behind a coil of rope that appears to be the source of the magical aura you were detecting.
All right. I'll go over and grab it.
You
can have
go
the
over and grab it.
and I'll hand the rope to T-Hole. Examine this.
Gladly.
Were you trying to kill this creature over that rope?
It's not just any rope. And then like T-Hole, like because he has the spectacles, he like eyes it close. He's like, oh, this is some fine rope.
See? Do you see now, Lucirosi? It's some fine rope. Now, give me that. And I
No,
snatch it off
I'm
you.
a get away from.
I go to
Hellweir.
grapple it. Can I grapple it?
You can. It's kind of like a grapple for you to try to rip it out of his hands. So we can do an opposed grapple check.
Yeah, do it. And then I pin it. Oh shit.
So you try to pin it. Well, that's true. I mean, the mimic is going to try to stick to Lucirosi. So it's a cape now. So it is just wrapped around his neck, holding on for dear life as you tug on the far end of it.
I'm gonna punch Hellware.
I'm going down.
This is the best.
I'm not doing this damage. I'm doing just my unarmed damage, but
What the fuck?
I really wish I could just use thoughts for every single one of these.
So how much damage do you actually do?
So
And by the way, let's not poo-poo prayers this time. 12 is pretty good.
yeah. So 5 damage for each hit, and then I don't know how you want to deal with the critical, because it's just my 1 plus strength.
Yeah, it would be another 5, so it's 10 for the critical.
So what? Is that 20?
It's 20 damage, yeah.
All right, get that dagger ready. I'm on 1 hit point. Someone check me in the ribs quick.
So Tino was like examining this rope, and he's like, "Now, fellas, there's no reason to throw punches at each other."
No, he's choking me. Just trying to get this thing.
Yeah, and you can tell, by the way, it's not just that the thing is like trying to physically hold on to you. It is the part that was touching your shoulders is almost like it's glued to your shoulder.
That's interesting.
I think you're trying. I mean, you should consider that you're trying to save something that maybe is an enemy.
Yes, but from what I heard, nobody mentioned anything of it attacking. It seems like it was just trying to run away. So it's just as likely an ally. We didn't strike Servant the minute that we saw him. We didn't strike the Librarian, though it definitely deserved it.
The thing does have teeth, and it did try to bite us.
So do I. Does that mean that I should be struck?
Have you tried to bite us?
I will if you try to hurt this creature without reason.
He did wail on Hellweir just now.
Yeah, it was unarmed strikes. Maybe I did bite him.
We're gonna
this
have to
thing,
heal you up,
this,
Hellweir.
this thing seemed like it was speaking. That means it's also potentially intelligent.
If only I remembered. If only I prepared my spell to understand languages.
You can cast it as a ritual. Just takes 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Is comprehend a ritual?
So
Yep.
can I pin both Lucirosi and the thing?
You find that your hands are also stuck to the cape, like they're glued there.
Oh, okay.
You can't even let go of the thing.
Well,
You could try to pull your hands away, but right now this thing is stuck to your hands like flypaper.
So I'll cast comprehend as a ritual then.
So you begin the 10-minute long process.
Yeah.
Let's see who survives.
Like, give me 10 minutes. Try not to kill each other, at least until then. I can understand what this thing says.
Fine. Then we'll determine how we react to it.
So the two of you are essentially in this odd situation where this creature is stuck to Lucerosi and stretched out so that at the other end of what appears to be just a normal cape, Hellweir is stuck to the other end. You two are essentially just tied together.
It's like that. It's like that.
Oh
Get
my
along
god.
shirt.
That's awful. There is no worse fate that Lucerosi can imagine than it being stuck, literally physically stuck to Hellweir.
Right. I mean, it is. You certainly are free to try to pull away from it, but it would take some effort.
I think you guys should stay
I'm
stuck
I'm
together.
staying here.
I'm
yeah,
not
I'm
trying to
holding
hurt
on
this creature. I don't know what it is.
And talk things through.
Communication.
Learn to work together while you're stuck together.
Zarius.
And you hear it. It just continues to mutter whatever that word means. It just continues to mutter it softly, mostly at the Lucerosi end, but occasionally it appears as though the sound that's being emitted moves around the cape a little bit. So you just keep hearing "Nungri, Nungri."
This thing's just saying hungry. I'm gonna be pissed.
I go outside. I've done my work.
Oh, there's that lockbox as well, but there's nothing magical in that, is there? Just money.
No, it's just appears to be coin.
Yeah.
As near as you can tell from the outside, it's coins.
I suppose I probably would have grabbed it and just
So you
carried it.
find it is extremely heavy. So the lockbox itself, it's hard to say how thick the lockbox might be, but yeah, it is. It's pretty hefty.
We're seeing your calculations if there's anything in there you want to.
That's all the booty we're about to find.
So once T-Hole's done with the comprehend languages, does he understand what the thing is saying?
Yeah, and so Kajika gets this pissed look on his face as T-Hole shares that Nungri, once the spell is cast, is just hungry.
Good.
All right. So
It's saying it's hungry. What does this thing eat?
Yeah,
clearly it doesn't eat flesh. Otherwise, it would have tried to eat some of you. T-Hole, can you communicate with it at all?
I mean, it's part of comprehend languages, so.
I didn't remember if it was I can understand it, but if I can communicate back.
I'm thinking of tongues.
Yeah, it's tongues. It's comprehend languages just lets you understand it.
What about those creatures we killed? Are they still out there?
The dead,
which
Hopefully
creatures?
they're not.
The dead.
Which creatures you killed?
the dead.
I mean,
ones?
they are. Those aren't dissolving away the way the demons did in the dining room.
So they're just bones or something?
Yeah, it's just a sack of flesh and bone.
Yeah, just have them eat those.
Or perhaps we can call in servants. He might know what this is.
That's a fine idea. Unfortunately, I can't communicate with it. I can only understand it.
So I'll yell out for servants. Hopefully he hears.
Well, the door to the great room is still open, so after a few seconds, he comes flying in. Yeah, do you need some food or something? I haven't gone into the kitchen yet. It might take some time because there were these things in there.
Right, we'll get to that, servant. Do you know?
He can't really. It doesn't seem like he has a neck to turn, so he is just sort of like physically turning between you and Hellweir, trying to figure out why you're like both fighting over a cape.
Servants, we found this creature in the armory. It changed as far as I could see, it turned from a bedroll into a cape. Do you know what it is?
Yeah, it's just Chester. Just leave him alone. He won't bother you.
And then he stares daggers at Hellbeer. It has a name. The servant knows it.
What is
You are
Chester?
about to kill Chester.
And the cape leaps off of both of you. The adhesive that it was using to stick to you is gone, and it leaps around Servant.
I can kill both of them now.
Calm down. What is Chester? Is he some sort of backpack extraordinaire?
Chester's a mimic. He's like a mimic.
Well, servant Chester T-Hole said that he is hungry.
What do mimics eat?
Chester usually eats meat. Like I said, I can get some from the kitchen if I can, not get destroyed.
Yes, I think that will be our next stop, since I imagine we will need to eat soon ourselves.
Yeah.
Is Chester all right? Has he been harmed? And then he looks at Hellweir.
Servant can't exactly shrug, but he circles a little bit, spins around in a circle in the air, and then says, I can't really tell. He looks like a cape.
All right. Well, keep him away from Hellweir.
Come on, Chester. And he starts flying off.
Were you guys able to find anything of value in this armory?
Well, I found some rope. So I guess before I was doing I was looking at the rope trying to see if I could I ran out of spell slots, so I was just trying to do Arcana to see if I could try to deduce what it might do.
What was your Arcana check? I mean, I would say that there are you're sure there must be certain specialized kind of magical ropes. No doubt there are just ropes that are extra strong or that can grow or like random things, but there are only a few ropes that are common, and so it's hard to say which one this might be, but the most common one is probably a rope of climbing. There's nothing distinguishing about the rope other than it being very nice. I suppose the most common one would be a rope of mending, which is just a 50-foot coil of rope that you can cut into any number of little pieces and then knit them back together. That one you see a lot, and it's pretty easy to make. But from the fineness of this rope, you would guess it's either a rope of climbing or entanglement.
Special rope.
I imagine there's a difference in schools of magic there, so that I would have seen initially.
Yeah, I'm looking at them. It doesn't give a school of magic for either of those two kinds of rope, so I'm going to say they're both enchantment.
I mean, mending would be transmutation, at least.
Okay, sure. We will rule that one out. I was suggesting that one anyway.
Hey, Zarius, do you wear heavy armor?
Let me confirm if I have that. Yes. Yes.
Hellweir, do you wear heavy armor?
Yeah, I'm proficient.
Well, you're proficient, but is that what you typically wear? Or are you more medium?
I'm wearing chainmail. I wouldn't oppose going bigger or smaller. It doesn't matter.
Because I remember Kurt said that there was a plate mail that was magical.
Yes. In fact, there are several suits of plate armor in here. A lot of them are in pretty shitty condition. You realize in going through a lot of this stuff, it appears to be almost ancient. Some of the things in here have begun to rot away. A number of them have rusted. But you probably could, if you went through the place, piece together possibly 2 suits of plate armor, like functioning suits. You'd have to pull from different sets of armor in here to get the ones that are still in good working order, the pieces that are still in good working order. But you could get 2 suits of regular plate if you spent about an hour.
Would that be one that accommodates my tail?
I would say yes. I'm not going to penalize you for having a tail.
Well, maybe I don't have tail. I don't know how the Dragonborn are in your world, but
I leave that up to the player whether there's a tail or not.
I
But
always,
if you have a tail, no, you'll never find magic armor ever.
So, T-Hole, have you used your magic to understand what, if anything, is usable within this room?
Unfortunately, I'm a bit tired. We've been fighting, a lot now, and I'm quite spent.
I mean, you
I
can
mean,
cast.
Yeah, identify as a ritual.
Oh, does rituals not? I do rituals.
They don't take spell slots.
Okay.
They just take 10 extra minutes.
Okay. So yeah, I guess at that point I would just keep identifying.
Right. And comprehend languages also didn't take a spell slot
Okay.
when you cast it ritually.
Yeah. I got it now.
Get those
Still-
spells back.
Still nearly cashed.
So are you going to just identify all these things?
Yeah.
Okay. If someone wants to try to unlock the strongbox, you can do that too. But you find that it's all of the stuff that you find that's magical, except for maybe the rope, is possibly Eregia's stuff. But you find that there's a longbow, or excuse me, a longsword +1. The magical suit of plate armor is plate armor of fire resistance. And inside the handy haversack, you find 2 jars of Kyotam's ointment, 3 potions of healing, and a potion of flying.
Get
Who
that.
wants the plate armor?
Can we write that out?
Yeah, I may just get it here.
As already being the All-Father's chosen one, I'm already resistant to all fire. And I like, is there any sort of fire around here? Can I like try and touch a torch and be like, nothing?
There are just glowing crystals on the wall, crystal orbs that are hanging from the wall. No fire.
I wish you would have, so that you could lose that last HP.
Right. Half damage.
Goodbye.
You just pass your hand over a candle flame, and you're out like a light and dying.
It's like, wasn't there an episode of Simpsons where he's like just not doing anything, and all of a sudden he's just burst into flames? Like,
that lockbox, we haven't opened it yet.
Well,
No.
How much does it weigh?
A grand total of about 25 pounds.
I can carry that.
yeah.
Zarius, did you want the armor?
I suppose it could be useful.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just wearing splint right now, so
It could be useful to both of you, actually.
yeah.
Right, but Lucirosi would allow Azarius to have it, especially since
The healer.
yes, he's much more necessary. I don't think Lucirosi would find it valuable to take the time to actually search for usable plate armor. So he'd probably just ignore that and recommend, okay, now that we know what's in here and we've gotten we can salvage, perhaps we should move on to the kitchen so that we can deal with that issue and at least secure ourselves some food, because who knows how long we're going to be in here.
And I would hope maybe if we could hunker down for a longer rest. I don't have much more of a fight left in me.
Yeah, I mean,
And you see the servant comes back out and has another plant and is flying down the hallway, placing plants on tables as he goes. The creature, the mimic, is just following along behind him now. It's no longer in a cape form. It looks more like a box with a little decorative strap wrapped around it, and eyes and teeth.
I have a question about logistics. So,
Yep.
Keen Mind says I always know the number of hours left before the next sunrise or sunset. How does that work, or does that work in a world or here?
Yeah, so you look over and T-hole explodes.
He's at 0 hit points. You can heal him up now.
It wouldn't necessarily work that way here. I think they were assuming one universal time frame when they came up with that sunrise and sunset thing. You could tell exactly how long you've been in here, which at this point is coming upon 3.5 hours.
Okay. That makes sense.
Does anybody want the longsword?
No, probably not. But if you're still using fists, I'll add it to my fucking armory of a backpack.
I mean, I can use it.
Yeah.
It would probably be a better weapon to use than prayers.
Yeah, there you go. You can go longsword and then thoughts and throw prayers away.
he can't throw
Like
his whole
everyone
hand
should.
away.
Well, it's really like reskinned warhammers that I'm using as like giant gauntlets that just turn giant as I'm punching things.
Sure.
So who's taking the potions? Since we might as well dole these out now. I think it's a fair point to wrap it up here rather than getting into some other fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we should figure out who wants to take the potions, because otherwise these things get lost, and then I'm not gonna be able to easily remember which equipment you're forgetting, and then come back to this adventure to find out what it was. The potion of flying the potions of healing should be easy to dole out. The Kyotom's ointment, that does a bunch of things.
Is that the one that like?
It heals hit point damage and poison and disease and.
I think T-hole would either take a Kyotom's ointment or a potion of healing.
Yeah. Each jar contains 1d4 plus 1. So each of these jars actually contains 4 doses. It gives you back 2d8 plus 2 hit points and cures poison and any disease. And it does all of that at once. So if you were poisoned, diseased, and missing hit points, you could get all 3 effects.
Nice.
Perhaps I'll take one of those. There's two of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So that's 8 doses total.
Kajika, this potion of flying might help you get a pretty good shot if you could fly above the field and get and snipe from above.
Okay, I'll take it then.
Might be difficult inside, but
Yeah.
There's
You've
some
noticed
markers.
Yeah. How high?
the ceilings in the hallway here are about 12 feet high. The ceilings in this particular room are about 15. So it's reasonably high ceiling. The ceilings in the great room, at least the dining hall part of it, are about 25 or 30, depending on where, because the ceiling's arched. It's about 12 feet up between the back end and the balcony above it, the library above it.
Shit, I was gonna say something. I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, did I ever notice anything with my investigation check about the emerald?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Well, you noticed the only thing you noticed that you didn't otherwise notice before is the emerald. Probably, you figure if somebody knew what they were doing, you could probably extract chunks of the emerald that could be cut down, and also that the person inside, you're not sure what killed them necessarily, apart from being inside an emerald. But whatever they died from, their face is frozen in a scream of terror. So it looks as if they died afraid of something.
Okay.
And probably very, very quickly.
Alrighty.
I would say you would also notice that they were dressed in pretty nice clothing. They were probably one of the party guests from the Manor of Clothing.
Okay.
let's see. So my AC is gonna go up. Just do. Armors of Resistance don't have.
No, there's no pluses.